People are understanding something, are bringing peace in their lives. And you can be a part of the magic regardless of where you are. Buonasera. So, we are here to hear about peace. And peace, it's a beautiful subject. But at the same time, we need to understand what that is. We need to understand what peace is. And to understand what peace is, we have to understand who we are. So, I would like to tell you a few things. And I know for a lot of people it's like, that's interesting. And if you feel like that it is interesting, then that's great. Then I would feel privileged that I was able to come this evening and spark that little flame in you. So let me begin with something that's really fascinating. Who are you? Now, when you hear that, who are you? One thing is very obvious. There is a part of you that your parents had a hand in shaping. Which school they sent you to, how much they stood behind you and said, go to school, go to school. And then once you were educated, how much you pursued further your education, what field you chose, what field you pursued, who you fell in love with, what your hobbies were, what your interests were. And so, up to a certain point, it was your parents that had some role in shaping your life the way you are, and then afterwards, it was really you. Maybe your friends had a little play in it. Maybe your neighbors had a little play in it. Maybe your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend. But that's not what we're here to talk about. That's your business, not mine. And I don't, in one sense, feel I'm privy to going around and saying, who are you, who are you, who are you, who are you, in that sense. So I'm talking about who are you in the sense that part of your life in which you had no control. None. Nothing. That's the part I want to talk about. Because actually, the part that in which we did not have any control is really fascinating. and a 14th century poet from India. The New World hasn't been discovered yet, but he is agreeing with me, or I am agreeing with him, that that is the case. So, what is it? What part of our life we have no choice about? We were born. And we had no choice. It wasn't like there is a cable or a button inside the mother's womb and you say, let me out, or no, wait, not yet, another few days. No, you don't have a choice. You came out. And when you did, you had to breathe. You didn't have a choice because there was your doctor. And if you decided, I'm going to hold my breath, not breathe, the doctor would hold you upside down and keep whacking you till you gave up the ghost and started breathing. So of course you didn't have any choice. But let's take it in one other dimension. And you don't have a choice. That something magnificent decided to reside in you. You didn't choose that. Nobody chooses that. That there is a power that sustains me. There is a power that keeps me alive. Resides inside of me. And I didn't choose. I didn't say, okay, you can live here. No, I had no choice in it. What does that mean? So here are things that I didn't have any choice in. I didn't choose those things. They just were there. Then there's a whole bunch of things I chose. The color I like, the suits I like, the ties I like, the music I like, the shows I like, the movies I like. So, let's play detective. A little detective work. Where are the fundamentals of peace? In the part where I make the choices, or very deeply rooted in the things that are so fundamental to me being me. Just me being alive. Interesting. Don't you think so? Because here, most people thought that it is this other part. When actually, it is another part where the roots of it are. What do I mean by roots? Every human being is a seed. And as a seed, we have this unlimited, incredible potential. Truly, we do. Okay, maybe you don't call it incredible, unlimited, but at least you will agree that every seed has a potential. And a human being, too, is very much like a seed. That each one of us encapsulates in us a potential. Now, here's the next question. What does a seed need to release its potential? If you just ascertain the idea, oh yes, every human being is like a seed and everybody has a great potential, ciao. That's half the story. And not the whole story. Because a seed that is not placed in the environment where it can grow, then it will simply remain a seed, and that's it. No potential. No nothing. And nothing and nothing and nothing. Just a seed. Aha. But plant that seed in that nutritionally rich soil, water it, and now you are talking about the manifestation of that potential. I'm not a philosopher. Because a philosopher would talk about the potential of the seed. I talk about the realization of that potential. I am not a philosopher. I am much closer to a gardener. I'm not here to just go on and on and on and oh yeah, we could be like this and we could be like this, and if there has to be a truth, it has to live somewhere, so it must be the pineal gland, this is where it lives. Interesting, very interesting, incredibly interesting, but what is the reality? Kabir, this 14th century poet, end of 13th century, beginning of 14th century, he dares say that a human being is like a musk deer that carries the musk in its own navel and yet searches for it in the forest and is disappointed because it cannot find that musk. Very different kind of example. Because he adds in it, in this example, the factor of disappointment, of sadness that this deer experiences. And so is the human condition. The sadness upon not having found the source which the deer searches for. So, are we sad? I mean, I see people in Milano, I see people in all these different places that I have been, and they've got their iPhone, and they've got their thing, and they're texting, and they are talking on the cell phone, and they're listening to music, and they're dancing, and they're talking to each other. I mean, I went to a park to take a walk today, and I did not see anybody crying. So, why is Kabir saying that this deer is sad? What does he mean? There is a sadness that is not necessarily expressed in tears, but a sadness that is experienced and expressed in the restlessness of a being. Restlessness. You agree? Now, the world is not particularly sad. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who are very sad. So it's not like everybody's crying. It's not like, all of a sudden the sales of tissues is just going skyrocketing. But you would have to agree that there is a tremendous amount of restlessness. No stillness. Movement, 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 every day, every day, every day, every day. New technology. One company comes out with one thing and it's like, oh, it can do this. And then the next company comes out with another thing that is very similar looking. And it can do two more things. And then the third company comes out with another thing that looks like both of the first ones, and it can do one more extra thing. Restlessness. Where are we going? Restlessness of what is it all about? Restlessness of not understanding, but acting. Preoccupation. Thinking something else and doing something else. Because we think, and this is the mistake people make, that we can choose our way to peace. Nope. Why do I say that? Why am I being so negative? It's because if it was that simple, we would have already done it. But it's not. What do people call this issue of peace? Mysterious. There is a distinct line. There is a distinct line in your life. Certain things reside on one side and certain things reside on the other side. On one side of the line, in your life, you have to know. Believing will not work. When will the flight leave? Do you get to believe that? Just believe, you show up at the airport, the flight is left. That's not fair. I was under the belief that the flight left at 10. No, there's a point. When a police officer pulls you over, so what? The police officer says, I believe you were speeding. You will start laughing because you know you can beat that in court just like that. No, there has to be clear evidence. So nowadays, they give you evidence. No believing. There's your picture, the speed, the time of day. Congratulations. What is in your refrigerator? Is this an issue of belief or knowing? You open the refrigerator, the light goes on, and you look and you go, okay, now I know what's in there. Close it back up. But unfortunately, there is a line, and on the other side of this line, it's all believing. It's okay. Long time ago, somebody said to me, do you believe in God? And I was very young, and I said, God is so important to me. I cannot afford to believe in God. I have to know God. So, I think the person was shocked. Because when it comes from a little kid, I was much younger than he was. It's like, So I have to ask you. Not that you have to answer me, but I have to ask you. Where does the realm of peace lie? In the believing field or the knowing field? Where does the divine lie? In the believing field or knowing field? There are mothers here, there are fathers here. If your child is supposed to come back from school at 3 o'clock, do you not make sure? I mean, even if it is a little noise, a little look, or even a yelling, "Are you back?" And an acknowledgement, "Yes, I'm back." Done. This is called knowing. Believing. Imagination, 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 imagination. And then people go, "Well, if you can imagine, I can imagine." So let me find the flaw in your imagination, then what I imagine, I will fix those flaws, and my imagination will then be better than your imagination. Peace is not imagination. Life is not imagination. The coming and going of this breath is not imagination. This is your reality. By the way, what does it mean to you? Here, just now, there, again, just went, just came back, there. What does it mean to you? It should mean something to me. This is what people say. It should mean something to me. And then, when that time comes to go, and it becomes harder and harder to take this breath, then it means everything to you. See, that's not good. To find out the value of the breath that late is pointless. Let's do it now, whilst we're alive, while we're healthy, because then we can take advantage of understanding those simple things that we have been given. I'm talking about the things that we were given, not chosen, given. You get to have this breath. You get to have this existence. You get to have this consciousness. You get to have this wonderful thing called understanding. You get to have love. You get to have joy. You don't go to a supermarket and say, "Okay, I will take 3 packs of joy." Now, some people might say, "Well, maybe you do that. Go to the alcohol section and say, 'Yeah, I'll take 3 packs of joy.'" That's not joy. That is merely to forget. So it doesn't matter. I'm talking about not forgetting, but remembering. Remembering now, remembering who you are. Because you are the container that contains divinity, and you did not choose that. Now, of course, there are people sitting here going, karma, karma. We talk about karma. It's very simple. Karma is very, very simple. Pinch yourself. If it hurts, you have just experienced karma. If it didn't hurt, see a doctor. And keep seeing the doctor till it hurts. Everybody talks about action. Nobody talks about thought. Without thought, you cannot have action. And if you have an action which is without thought, it is a thoughtless action. So I ask you, what do you think about? Here's the issue. Whatever you think about, whatever you do the most, you are going to get good at it. There's stories about it that I have told. But one of the poets around that same time says that if you keep repeating something, even the people with the mentality like a root, like nothing moves, become awakened just by practice. As the coming of the rope on the rock, because in the old days, they used to have the bucket tied or the musk tied to the rope, and they would throw it in the water and pull it up and throw it in the water and pull it up. The rope going back and forth on the rock will carve a groove. So whatever you do the most, you will get good at. There's some new people here who have never perhaps heard me, so I will very quickly tell you this story. Once upon a time, there was this guy. He was really good with his bow and arrow. This is going to be a record time story. He was really good with his bow and arrow, and he would go from village to village exhibiting his accuracy with the bow and arrow. One day at such an exhibition, while everybody was applauding him, right after the applaud, he heard somebody make a comment saying, "Oh, it's just a matter of practice." This really irked this man. He became very angry. After the exhibition was over, after the show was over, he went to the man who used to sell oil. He had one of those poles, one pot in the front, one pot in the back, and a whole bunch of bottles. The front pot was full of oil, the rear pot was full of oil, and a whole bunch of bottles for people who wanted to buy the oil. And so the man went to him and he said, "So tell me, why do you keep saying it's just a matter of practice, it's just a matter of practice? And don't you know how good I am?" He said, "Well, it is just a matter of practice." He said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Let me show you." So he picked up the big pot, he took the bottle, And if you remember, in the old days, they used to have coins with a hole in them. He put the hole on top of the bottle, and he proceeded to pour the oil from a big pot through that little hole into the bottle without spilling a drop. And then he turned to the marksman and he said, "Now you do it." And the marksman realized, truly, he is good at his marksmanship because he practices that, and this man is good at it because he practices that. Question: what do you practice? Oh, I don't mean for it to be negative. It's just that whatever you practice, you will get very good at it. So you must be good at something. What is it? How long does it take you to get angry? So you must have practiced that. Very good. Very good. How long does it take you to become disappointed? Have you ever watched that show they have on television about the airlines at the airports, and the airplane, left without them? They showed up maybe a few minutes late, and the airplane left without them. And there are all these things, all the different airlines they have. And people just, and I'm like, listen, it's okay. I want to tell them, it's okay. Have a little patience. Catch the next flight. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. The world did not begin the day you booked your flight. And it's not going to end the day you miss your flight. There was a man, and I hate to say this, but I had a car, and it wasn't doing that good. It was a new car I had bought, so I sold it, and this person bought that car. And he was very proud of that car. He liked it, and he was going to get married. So he was driving in that car, and it broke down. He was driving to his marriage, to get married. And it broke down, so he never made it to his wedding. And he was very happy. Because he had realized that he really didn't want to get married to that person. So, disappointment. Is that what we practice in our life? Anger? Fear? Jealousy? The issue is, let's go to those fundamentals that is not our choice. How could we be making these choices? How could we be making these choices if our root is established in divinity? If your potential has not come through, it is because you have not been sown yet. Prepare the field of your understanding. And then take this existence that you have and sow it in this field. Give it the water of knowing, not believing, knowing. Give it the light of clarity. And watch this seed bloom. This blooming is called peace. That's what peace is. Not state of nothing moving. This is what they show. They show a man in peace and he's just sitting there and he has his eyes closed. Oh, Kabir has harsh words for those. One thing, Kabir was not politically correct. And that's why I love what Kabir wrote. He says, it doesn't matter how much you pretend. Only you know how much the wheels up here are turning. Crunch, 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 is the person who is looking at me impressed with my demonstration of peacefulness? Because this is what it has become. When you start to relegate in that world of believing, few facts remain. Because you see, facts have nothing to do with that believing stuff. Because if you could have facts, you would know. You wouldn't have to believe. For belief to stay as believing, facts have to stay away from there. So what are the facts? You're alive. Yeah, but I was alive yesterday, too. And the day before that. And the day before that. And the day before that. And if everything goes good, maybe I'll be still around another 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, whatever. You saw the video, 25,550. And you know what's really amazing? All these intelligent people, they thought 250,000 days. 250. Millions. This is what we believe. See, that's believing. That's what we believe. Then you say the fact. No, it's only 25,550. That's all you get. No. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. It's not the number of days. It's the quality. Quality. It's the quality. We are in Italy. One of the things most Italians know how to cook is pasta. When you cook pasta, to test whether it is done or not, you take out a little pasta, and it's always hot. You cool it down, and you taste one piece of that pasta, and you go, another minute. Excuse me. How can one piece of pasta decide the fate of all the spaghetti that's in that pot? How? Shouldn't you taste each one? Is this one done? Is there, yeah, it's done. Is this one done? Shouldn't you taste each one? But you know. No. If this isn't done, they're not done. So, did you taste today? And if it was good, then you can look forward to the rest of your life. And if it was no good, fix it. Do something. Because life is important. Will you get another life? This is in the realm of believing, not fact. That's why there's so many books on the subject. That's why there's so many books on the subject. How many books are there on how to make Italian cooking? Okay, he's proud Italian. He says millions. Probably even more. And how many on how to turn on the gas? But if that's all you have is a gas cooker, how are you going to make your millions of dishes if you can't turn on the gas? You are blessed. And this is what I mean. You are blessed by design. Not fate. You are blessed by design. Biased towards happiness. Bias towards contentment. Biased towards peace. Biased towards knowing. You're biased. If you don't think you're biased towards knowing, go play with a baby. Go play with a baby. I have a grandson, 2 years old. He wants to know. Not believe, he wants to know. He calls me Maraji. He gets up and he goes, he even sings it like happy birthday. Let's go to Maraji's office. Let's go to Maraji's office. So he wants to come to my office. And when he comes to my office, what do you think he wants to do? He wants to take his little finger, find my speaker, and he wants to go to the speaker. He wants to know what that feels like. All day long, except for sleeping, all day long, I want to know, 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 I want to know. And it does not matter if mama says, honey, don't touch that, that's hot. That's believing. That's mama. That's called hearsay. It's not admissible in court either. But mama says one thing, no, I have to know what it is. Ah! That's all right, but I know. What happened? What happened to us? We were so infatuated by knowing, and how did we end up such believers? What happened? Who brainwashed us? It's a disease. It's a disease. To feel in your life the fulfillment, the peace by design. By design? Yes. Because boy, I can tell you, I did not choose that the divine reside in me. I didn't. Did the divine choose to reside in me? Yes. Who is the divine? Male, female, young, old? No, they portray God. It's different all the way around the world, Different places portray God different ways. Some portray God old man. So does that mean that God was young once? Well, because if God got old, that means God is under the bias of the process of aging. So that means God must have been young. And so what was God like when God was a teenager? Breaking all the speed limits. That's why those who have felt that feeling call the divine timeless. Timeless. You are not timeless. I am not timeless. This world is not timeless. The sun is not timeless. The moon is not timeless. These galaxies are not timeless. But that divine will be still around when this dust from this earth will be made into something else. That timeless will still be around. That's the divine. Formless? Of course. Why? Because that divine is in every form. Every form. Today, I saw this tiny little red spider. I mean, this little red spider was tiny. And this red spider was going fast. I could not see the feet of the spider because you could see it was a little spider. The spider had wisdom. It wasn't just sitting there going, oh, well, I got nothing to do. So I'll just be here and do nothing for a little while. I've seen an ant on a mission. Focused. Do you know, if you observe an ant going at it, that little ant makes us all look like we have ADD. Attention deficit disorder. No. I saw this man once, long time ago. I was in the car waiting. This was in India. There was a young man. He's standing there, and he couldn't see me because of the blackout on the car, but I could see him. And he's standing there, and he's looking like this, and the girl goes by, and he's like... And then he kept looking this way till another girl came by, and then he would go like this. He would not actually start going like that. He would just stay there till another girl... It was like, my God, you've got this perfected, don't you? You don't even move your head for no reason at all. You just wait for the other one to come across. mean, just like a scanner, zoom, 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 zoom. And, an old one would come by and his facial expression would be totally different, even though he would still keep looking. The only time he would not track a walking person was when they were male. But to this person, everything that was a female was fair game. Just this spider has no time for that. This ant has no time for that. It's got a mission, and it will complete it. So, let's see if we can put it all together. One, your roots are in the most magnificent place with the divinity. If you want peace, take the seed and sow it in that fertile ground of understanding. Give it the water of knowing, of knowledge. Give it the light of clarity. Practice that will make you more content. Not fear and anger, but practice joy. Practice clarity. Practice peace. Be thankful for what you have. And know that which is most important to you. Rest. It's okay. Why do we do this, by the way? Oh, yeah, that's important. Why do that? Why be in peace? Why be in clarity? Why? Because it feels so good. It's actually to feel good. Super good. Super happy. Not just happy. Hyper happy. Super happy. Unbelievably happy. Unbelievably grateful. Unbelievably clear. That's why we need to practice that. Rest you know. And in fact, what I just told you, you knew too. You've always known this. Nothing new. Fascinating, huh? Fascinating that you knew this. I wonder how you knew this. Because this is not from the choosing. This comes from the heart. And it resides in your heart. Open. Be alive. Live. Live. Live like there is no tomorrow. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you.